Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where we have entered the era of the lunatic. It's Lost to the Midcard, our special Money in the Bank post-show. I am hyped. I am your host, Jeremy Bennett, on the Twitter at JB Huskers. I'm hyped as my man, my guy, my number one guy. Dean Ambrose is your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Very stoked. We're going to get into that all in just a little bit. But as always, thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host and enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. If you have not done so already, please search for Lost in the Midcard. Hit that subscribe button, and you will know every time a brand new show comes your way. That is every Thursday morning, and also after a WWE pay-per-view, like you're listening to right now, every Monday morning after those pay-per-views. We are also subscribable on YouTube. And those links to our pages there are on our Facebook page, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard. And also, we're on the Twitter, and those links are on our pinned tweet as well at LITMC Podcast. And as always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at RawFShowtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, how you doing this evening?
I am good, my friend, and I would imagine anybody in the state of Ohio is in a good mood tonight, too. Because not only is Cincinnati's own Dean Ambrose the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but LeBron brought one to the land, and the Cleveland Cavaliers ended the curse and are NBA champions tonight. So this is a big night. You know, big night for WWE, big night for the NBA, big night for Ohio, big night for sports, big night for us. I'm in a good mood, man. I'm ready to do this.
Cars are flipped over and on fire everywhere in the state of Ohio. That's for damn sure.
What?
And joining us on this episode as well, he is the commissioner of Black Diamond Wrestling. Make sure you go to their Facebook page, facebook.com/Black Diamond Wrestling. On the Twitter, he is at Trevor Osz, OSZ. Trevor, how's it going this evening?
It's going good. I'm reporting live from Ohio. It's burning.
What do you see? What do you see, Trevor?
It's burning. That's all I see. All I see is fire. Like
fire.
It's like we just let
burning.
We just let Daenerys Targaryen into Ohio and mess.
LeBron James, he's on fire. Well, boys, it was a fun pay-per-view. They bunched up the meaningless feuds all into the first part of the show. They did a nice job of throwing in the U.S. title during the last minute of the NBA Finals. And they stalled the bell ringing of Reigns and Rollins until LeBron got his trophy. So,
can I openly admit I didn't see any of that United States title match?
It's
Didn't see
okay.
it. I'm sorry, guys.
I didn't. I watched it, but yeah,
Don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
So Trevor saw the match, so he can run down that match for us.
I can verify that you missed.
You missed Rusev talking shit to Titus's kids.
No, I did see that, and I laughed my ass off. That's the only thing I saw.
Only a couple of bits of headlines here to start the show off, and then we'll get right into Money in the Bank. But the biggest news, of course, what came down just the other day on Friday, Jerry the King Lawler arrested in Memphis, Tennessee, as well as his girlfriend, Lauren McBride. They were took into custody and booked on alleged charges of domestic assault, bodily harm, which is a misdemeanor. Almost immediately, the WWE came out and said that for matters involving domestic violence, Jerry Lawler has been suspended indefinitely following his arrest. Some more details came out as the morning went on. They mentioned that Jerry Lawler, 66, was arrested, and so was his fiancée, Lauren, who I believe is only 29. Wow, what an age difference there, eh?
Vintage
apparently,
Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, apparently Lauren alleges that Lawler shoved her face against the stove, placed a gun up top of it and told her to go kill herself. Lawler told authorities that this started when her fiance lied about where she had been, claimed that she was drunk, and she scratched him, threw a candle at him, knew where the gun was, and threatened to kill herself. So apparently there's two different sides of the story. Apparently, the girlfriend Lauren was drunk and trying to drive away, which Lawler was preventing her to do so. So that is where we stand. In the morning at about 8:30, both were released from jail on bond, and then Jerry Lawler did an interview with WMC TV in Memphis. Said that he had returned from a wrestling booking that night, and his fiance was drunk when he arrived home. When she drinks, we get into a little bit of a shouting match, and then she wants to leave. I was not going to let her leave in the car because she was not in any condition to drive, and she got more and more upset. Police arrested them both as they were unable to determine who the aggressor was in the situation. McBride was the one that called 911. Lawler denies that he denies the claims of McBride that he hit her, and also denied that he told her to kill herself. He says it's an unfortunate situation. Nobody was hit. Nobody was hurt. It's just something that happened as a result of drinking too much. It's an unfortunate situation as a result of someone drinking too much. I'm saddened by it, and hopefully we can get past this. So Lawler still remains indefinitely suspended until the case is resolved, as you could notice from his disappearance from the pre-show on Money in the Bank. Pretty crazy story, Matt. And what do you think of all this?
Well, of one, I know for the fact Jerry Lawler doesn't drink. So I am most certainly going to take his word at more face value than his seemingly psycho fiance. It's a terribly unfortunate situation. We really don't know all the facts, so I really don't want to go too far into it. I do want to say the one thing I do find amusing, because I want to keep this podcast upbeat and happy tonight. I do want to point out the fact that the wrestling event that Jerry Lawler worked that night prior to going home was entitled Night in the Slammer.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm dropping it all and let's move on.
Hello.
I am not kidding. You guys can go look that up if you don't believe me. He wrestled in a tag steel cage match in the main event of that indie show, and the title of the show was Night in the Slammer. So you can't make that shit up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's time for Lawler to maybe, there's plenty of hot 40-somethings out there with their shit together. Maybe it's time for Lawler to start dating them,
Yeah, I mean, Lawler just likes crazy chicks, doesn't he?
Yeah,
it really seems that way.
How old was Kat when they were together? She was barely 21, wasn't she?
She was young as hell, too.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe I guess Lawler will be hanging out at the malls to scope out his next one. So
no shit. A guy that's probably going to get a nice boost in his paycheck would be Corey Graves.
You would certainly think if this stuff doesn't get worked out and he's not brought back, they're going to need to fill some commentary teams for this brand split. I would think Graves is primed for that position right now.
I'm not really calling for Lawler to be retired. I think he got his stride back as a heel announcer in the past year, doing good work on SmackDown with Morrow. So, granted he is 66, but I'm not really calling for his retirement. Obviously, not barring all the facts that we do not know. But if it indeed is her doing and not Lawler's, then I think the door should be wide open for Lawler to return. Don't you agree?
Oh no, I would like to believe that. But who knows how long all this is going to take? Mm-hmm. I mean, this could go on for a while. So,
plus you got to think that they were kind of moving towards putting Lawler to pasture, so to speak. Like even if he still does a good job, I think WWE was kind of like, they pushed him to
give me a
SmackDown
reason
only.
Type of deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's very, very likely that is the situation. Some breaking news, not really big time breaking news, but something to note that possibly Del Rio was hurt on the Money in the Bank ladder match. Numerous sources have told Mike Johnson at PW Insider that Del Rio was helped out of the arena by several referees after taking a pretty scary bump into the ropes. Probably the one where Cesaro put up the second ladder, and him and Cesaro climbed up it before Owens shoved them both down onto the ropes.
I think they were supposed to get crotched on the top rope, and
Yeah,
Cesaro landed right, and Del Rio most certainly did not.
No. So hopefully Del Rio is okay. Del Rio, we'll get to it in a little bit, but I thought Del Rio performed very well in that match. And interesting, he had El Patron on his on the back of his tights tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that.
But if he's going back to kind of that character like he had in Ring of Honor, or not Ring of Honor, but Lucha Underground, that'll be great because
El Patron was in Ring of Honor too. I really,
you're right. He was. I forgot.
I really enjoyed Alberto on. I don't want to say it on the Indies, but I really enjoyed his character away from WWE.
Me too.
So if they're gonna like repackage him and change his character to more how he was there and not how he is in WWE currently, I'd be all for that.
Yeah.
Do something with him.
Yeah,
and it could even be a good guy with a vicious streak too, because the fans do like Del Rio, and if they go kind of the route of El Patron, I mean, his battles with Tejano and Lucha Underground were phenomenal. His character was just awesome in Lucha Underground, and of course, in Ring of Honor, his time there as well. So, one other tidbit of news before we jump into Money in the Bank: a big announcement for the WWE as they announce a major deal with China. China has currently, their PPTV has 400 million subscribers to it, and they will now have access to WWE pay-per-view events and digital content on demand. They made the announcement that they will be able to stream Raw and SmackDown episodes starting on June 28th, and these will air just hours after they air in the United States. This will be the first time that the company has received complete WWE programming. And before that, they were only received an hour of edited down Raw, which I think 2 hours of edited down Raw is kind of annoying on Hulu. I like to see everything, so I can only imagine what 1 hour looked like and what they cut down. But they made that announcement, and they said that they are still intending to bring the network to China. That should happen within the next 12 to 15 months. So, Matt, definitely big news. And they also signed Ben Wang, 22-year-old first ever Chinese developmental talent. So WWE is getting into a gigantic market here, Matt.
Yeah, this is huge. This is really the one big market that WWE has had a lot of trouble getting into. This is a huge area, dude. They generate a lot of money over there. This is nothing but good news for WWE. This will be huge for them and the network and the global brand overall that is WWE. So yeah, I think a lot of people have overlooked this announcement this week because they don't really understand truly how big it is. But this is a big deal for WWE as a whole to get into China. So congratulations to them.
Trevor, do you have any idea why they don't have such a foothold in China?
China recently really just opened up in the past few years because they've been pretty closed off to anything. Because I know they were closed off for the longest time to any internet stuff, even movies and stuff. That's why movies are becoming a big thing over in China now, because they were closed off for a long time. So I think that's more or less what it is.
I see. The WWE will return to China for its first live event in more than 3 years. This will happen on Saturday, September 10th. And as for Ben Wang, he is 6'3", 220 pounds. He's only 22 years old. He's been training for the past 2 years in the IGF, which is a wrestling and MMA promotion founded by Antonio Inoki. So be very cool to see Ben Wang's transition to the WWE, and if he can become a star. If he can become a star, that's going to just make their foothold in China even bigger. So very cool to see there. All right, we transition to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view tonight. 10 matches, a very heavy card. 2 on the pre-show, 8 on the main card. They moved two of the matches that were originally on the pre-show onto the main card. Probably a good thing, even though it did go long. But I think it was a good thing because I think with 6 matches on the card, I don't think they could have really stretched it out the way they wanted to. And then, of course, I think the way that WWE planned it around the end of the NBA Finals game, I think they kind of timed things out perfect. So I kind of like that they were able to get more people on this card tonight. With that said, though, Tyler Breeze and Fandango against the Golden Truth.
Brutal.
Who the fuck thought this tanning booth thing was a good idea?
And how bad does it, in your perception, how bad does it look that it took a tanning bed accident to allow Golden Truth to beat these guys?
Ugh. This is so stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't. Who thought that was a good idea? Besides Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon.
That's the only person that needs to think it's a good idea.
This is so fucking stupid.
It was funny, pal. You just don't get it.
Just because you fake make Vince doesn't mean we think it's funny.
It was hilarious.
Skin peeling off and everything. Yeah. All I could see on Twitter was, God, poor Tyler Breeze. Man, look what they've done with Tyler Breeze. Poor Tyler Breeze. I saw tweet after tweet after tweet of poor Tyler Breeze on this, but and I didn't even listen to the commentary, so poor Mauro Ranallo for having to call this shit. I was watching the end of the U.S. Open, so I didn't even. I saw the. I don't even know when the tanning booth thing happened. Was that just a? Was that on SmackDown, or was that?
If it was on SmackDown, I totally didn't see it.
I didn't watch.
Or
SmackDown
maybe it was
week.
some kind of video WWE.com did over the weekend.
But
But I never saw any of it until tonight, so I didn't understand it at all. I was very I was watching. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? I just could not, understand the idea behind doing this and where they thought at any point that this was a good idea.
And those are pretty close quarters there. So you really got to love your tag team partner apparently to get in the tanning booth with them. Yeah, I was out of town most of yesterday, and so I didn't get a chance to really get to watch SmackDown. So I figured with Raw sputtering into the pay-per-view, I figured SmackDown would be just about the same. Though I did hear some good things about Xavier Woods and AJ Styles. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that match. Probably just watch it on Hulu.
It was the match was very good. So yeah, absolutely.
So Trevor, did you like the tanning booth angle?
I actually ended up not seeing it until they did the replay of it later in the night. So
You lucky bastard.
You saved yourself some. You saved yourself from hitting your head against a brick wall, I think.
Yeah, I just so happened to miss that match. So
the other kickoff show match was the Dudley Boys against the Lucha Dragons. Now that Kalisto no longer has the U.S. title, they're back together as a more of a focus on the tag team division. And
which really sucks for Kalisto, I want to point out.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when Kalisto did a little roll to kind of avoid Bubba. Bubba then does a roll to mock Kalisto. I thought that was hilarious, seeing a big man like Bubba just do one of those rolls. As for the match, I don't know. It was okay. Wasn't anything special. It was better than the shit show we had in the first one, right, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. Everybody wants to say how bad they feel for Tyler Breeze. I mean, I feel bad for the Dudleys.
Yeah.
Just how poorly they've been used since they've been brought back to the company. And I mean, I know the Dudleys have no problem putting over the new generation of talent. They're a lot like Jericho in that respect, and I respect the hell out of Bubba Ray and Devon. But I truly feel that they deserve a lot better than what they're getting. And it kind of almost really makes me want to hope that when these brands get split in July, that there are 2 sets of tag titles instead of just one, and they actually give the Dudley Boys a chance to actually be relevant again.
They have so
because
many
I feel like it
teams.
really sucks for them right now that they're getting the short end of the stick. And you're right, Trevor. They have so many teams on the main roster right now, 2 sets of tag titles could easily be done between Raw and SmackDown without a problem.
Yeah, plus you got 2 more teams. American Alpha's probably getting called up. The Ascension is going to be back together now that Connor's suspension is over, so that's even more depth to be able to split into two divisions. And then at first I'm like, God, I don't want to split the tag divisions, but you're right. There are a lot of teams. And then at the same time, other teams can form along the way. You could even have superstar teams like they did in the past, like Jericho and Big Show. Teams like that can come together as well.
I mean, just off the top tonight, you saw 8 tag teams on the show tonight.
Yeah.
You saw 4 teams on the pre-show. You saw 4 teams in the 4-way. And you also said there's the Ascension. You've got Primo and Epico. There are a lot of teams within the WWE right now that they really could make one hell of a 2-way tag division make a lot of people matter.
It's funny because like for a while there, the tag division was like nothing. Mm-hmm. They built it really, really quickly in the past couple years. So,
can the women afford to do this?
You mean 2 women's championships?
Yeah.
I still think they should, and that would be one title that I say should travel across both shows. They're doing so poorly with the women's division right now, which breaks my heart because there's so much good talent there that they should not be doing poorly. Until they show me that they can run not the Divas division, but the women's division better than they are right now, I don't see any reason for there to be more than one singles championship. I would still like a women's tag title, just because of how much they heavily rely on tag matches for the women's division. I think a tag title would be very welcome. But if they do a women's tag team title, then I would think they shouldn't do a second men's tag title because then there's just way too many tag titles. So, I mean, it's kind of like, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation with what they're going to do with the overall tag division, women and men, going forward this summer.
Yeah, that's the big question mark that's going to come up here as we go to the draft. A, are teams getting split up? B, what are they going to do with them? I still overall want just one tag team champion and have feuds just be like you have your set feud that's on SmackDown and your set feud that's on Raw, but the tag team champions can go. I don't think they should be split up at all. But it's hard to say. It's hard to put in words how to do it though. With just one tag title and not splitting up the teams. It's hard to put in words what to really do. So hopefully the WWE does a good job in the next 3 weeks here in explaining what they're going to do. And hopefully they have decided on what they're going to do and not just going to come up with it on the fly over the next couple of weeks. And if you hear Matt there, he's probably under the assumption that they're just coming up with it on the fly.
I want to be wrong. I want to know that there's some kind of awesome, well-formed plan here. But
yeah, we all know better, right, Trevor?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And
their pants.
And props to Trevor, by the way, the commissioner of Black Diamond Wrestling. He got to throw a nice vicious punch at the end of the cage match at Black Diamond Wrestling there, right, Trevor?
I did.
Laid the guy out. I like the form. Once that video gets posted on YouTube, we'll have to share that out. But I like the form of Trevor's punch. I might have to go back and try to find that video of that little clip there. So maybe we can get Trevor as our SmackDown GM.
Hey, I'm all for it. Hey. Vote for Trevor, SmackDown GM.
Book it.
Dudley's go for the 3D, but Kalisto escapes, hits the Salida del Sol, and then Sin Cara follows up with a Swanton as they get the 1-2-3 on Bubba. So the Lucha Dragons are your new winners. This is where I would have loved the Dudleys to win and then have them, automatically be the next contender for the New Day. I think that would have made perfect sense.
I still think the situation between the club and the New Day are far from over. I think all they did tonight was solidify the fact that the Vaudevillains were out of the tag team title hunt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, you could be right there. This could go all the way to SummerSlam.
I would not. Honestly, I think by the time Battleground rolls around, I think the New Day surpass London and Kendrick's tag title reign.
Now
which
they do,
is obviously what they want. And if they're facing the club at Battleground, I see a title change.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. But that would be my prediction.
I don't know if they break the record by then.
I'm pretty sure they do because it's still over a month away. I think it's like July 24th for Battleground. So that's over 30
it's like
days.
A week. It's like basically it's almost like a week and a half after the draft, which is I thought was kind of strange because I mean you're not going to be able to really build many matches, you know.
No.
Yeah, Battleground is actually the Sunday right after the first live SmackDown.
That kind of makes me wonder.
Goes live on July 19th, and then Battleground is that Sunday.
Oh yeah.
That kind of makes me wonder. That kind of makes me wonder if they're not going 2 world titles they're not splitting titles.
Well, if they're splitting titles, they totally just gave Dean Ambrose SmackDown's championship. Because they'll put a new title on Roman Reigns and let him run Raw.
Or they'll wait till after the pay-per-view to do a title split.
I'm telling you what, Battlegrounds in DC, and I had no intentions on wanting to go. But if they do a Shield triple threat for the World Championship, I might be kind of inclined to go to that. Yeah, no doubt. I've been wanting to see that match for like 2 years now. So
how far is DC from you?
I can hop on a Metro rail and be there in like 20 minutes. And there's the Metro literally it parks. One of its stops is right underneath the Verizon Center in DC. So yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure, but depending on how the card stacks up, I'm a lot more interested now than I was 3 hours ago about attending Battleground in a few weeks. So,
no doubt. The pay-per-view kicks off. They show the old Vegas connection as they're in Las Vegas in the opening package there. And we kick off with Enzo and Big Cass. They do a pretty good promo. The New Day comes out, and they claim to be the Elite team. Hello?
That was a shot at the Elite.
Oh, yeah.
It was totally a shot. And the Young Bucks put out a tweet no more than like 15 minutes later giving thumbs down and stupid-looking faces. So obviously that was their quick reply to the New Day on social media. I thought that was pretty damn funny.
And I bet you $1 million that went over Cole's head because he kept saying the word elite, elite, elite. And it probably went over Cole. It probably went way over Cole's head.
Cole don't know Jack.
Speaking of the club, how about Lita dropping Bullet Club on the pre-show?
I thought she caught herself. Did she not catch herself?
Didn't sound like
it.
it.
I had people over, so I couldn't hear the pre-show very well. We were all talking, about the upcoming show and everything, so I didn't hear that. That's funny.
I like that. I like that club logo with the Japanese flag and the logo.
I do too. I'm looking forward to seeing if they put that on a shirt because that was on the back. That was on the back of their jackets.
It was on Styles' tights
too.
It was on Styles' tights
tonight. So
Styles has the club colors on his gloves now.
It's good times, man.
That was good stuff.
Yes, sir. The 4-man tag match, very good stuff. Great choice for the opener. Hell, I thought every finisher that the 3 losing teams hit was a great near fall. I was pretty sure Vaudevillains were going to win with the Whirling Dervish, but when Enzo and Cass hit the rocket launcher, I thought, whoa, okay. And then when the club cleaned house and hit the Magic Killer, I'm like, oh shit, that's it. Nope. Somehow they do not get the win there, but then the big ending takes out the club, and then they cover Aiden English, who just ate the Magic Killer. They cover him for the 1-2-3. So the New Day continue their long and lengthy run as tag champs. Matt, what'd you think of the opening match here?
I thought for the most part it was solid. They had a couple miscues, which in my opinion hurt the overall match. One, they always say that the referee's supposed to follow through no matter what if there's a fuck up or not. One, Enzo and Cass should be the tag team champions right now, because the referee did count the 3 on the club. Luke Gallows was definitely late pulling. I think it was Enzo. I think Enzo was on the pin. He definitely late pulling Enzo out. That referee most certainly hit the 3.
Yeah, he did.
So one, they should have changed the titles, even though that wasn't the plan. The ref went with it. The guys screwed up. It is what it is. It should have been a title change. And 2, the finish where everybody was very much seemed to be out of position made the finish of the match extremely awkward.
I think what happened is that Big Cass missed his cue on that one.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a bummer that happened because it takes away from the overall match, which I thought was very good. But those things kind of stand out like a sore thumb. So it is what it is.
Enzo kind of fell down when he was supposed to get hit with Trouble in Paradise, too. That was another kind of miscue. But overall, still...
Yeah, overall the match was very good, but there were definitely a few very noticeable problems.
But, I mean, that's, that it's hard to be cohesive. I think it's just the fact that it was a 4-way tag team match with 8 guys, and trying to hit your cues like that with that many people is definitely difficult.
Backstage, Tom Phillips interviews Kevin Owens, and then Chris Jericho interrupts, and then Alberto Del Rio interrupts. Pretty entertaining stuff by those 3 guys. I kind of popped when Jericho called them Pero idiots. That was pretty funny.
Dude, that whole segment was amazing.
And those 3 guys are pretty damn entertaining. Next up here, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler. This was probably their best match. I missed a little at the beginning because I was watching the Dustin Johnson interview after he won the U.S. Open. I don't get the crowd chanting boring on this one. I don't get that at all. I don't think it was.
I don't know if as much as the people felt the match itself was boring, is if people are just fucking tired of this feud.
This feud,
because this feud has been going since the day after WrestleMania, and it feels like one of those slowest dragging feuds on the planet.
I almost wonder if they knew the draft was coming up and they didn't know what the hell to do with them, so they were just like, let's keep it going.
Well, the problem is WWE already solidified fans' opinions of this match. This match was scheduled for the pre-show before they bumped it to the main card again. This was going to pre-show a WWE pay-per-view 3 months in a row. So you have conditioned the fans to say that this feud does not matter. So to give the fans this match right after a Fatal 4-Way tag title, something they cared about, the fans were obviously like, okay, this match has gone on way too long, get it over with. And I really think that's what it was about. I don't think the match was bad. I don't think it was great. I thought it was a good overall match. But I really feel the boring chants were more about the perception WWE has given the fans regarding this feud, more so than anything to do with either of those guys.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Mike Johnson from PW Insider, he says this is far and away the best that Corbin has looked since debuting on the main roster. Trevor, do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I think so. Corbin, I really liked his character on NXT where he basically, was the guy that didn't give a shit what you did before WWE and basically didn't give a shit if you were on the Indies or not and, had that attitude. Like, I thought it was awesome.
That's just basically him in real life, though, too.
yeah, but it works. Like, even, the best characters are extensions of your personality. And I thought, as a character, it was great, and they haven't shown enough of that. But he looked really good in the ring. Like, he's really good. I just don't think they've given him anything to, like, make you want to care about him on the main roster, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll see. The NXT played some vignettes and stuff with Corbin, and then they also, I think they kind of showed him on Breaking Ground a little bit outside of the ring. So I think those are some things that they could incorporate into his character. I think a Corbin and Orton feud would be pretty fun if you don't turn Orton right away. I think that would be fun. But we do need some heels, so I could see Orton being a heel when he comes back too as well. Speaking of the crowd not giving a shit, it's Becky Lynch and Natalya against Charlotte and Dana Brooke, and before the bell even rang, we want Sasha chants starting.
Want Sasha Charlotte's? What?
Yeah, shut up. We want Sasha Chance starting. And we'll get her soon, I think. I don't know. You said she's back to wrestling, right, Matt?
Sasha? Yeah, she wrestled on Superstars this week against Summer Rae.
Who won that?
Sasha won.
But no, I'm sure she was just on Superstars to make sure she was good after her concussion.
Yeah, make sure she's feeling all right.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, this is another. The women's division has been booked so poorly since WrestleMania.
So it's been booked like the men's division most of the time.
And that's what's bad, because the it hasn't been booked properly either. It's
been a big yawner. There hasn't been any riveting stuff. Hasn't been any riveting stuff to come out. You know, it's been a big bore.
Yeah, and I just think I feel they all deserve better. So
definitely.
Dana Brooke and Charlotte get the win here. Then Natalya
and Natty turns heel for no reason.
Yeah, again, another thing that makes no sense. Natty turning heel, and she turned heel and attacked Lynch from behind, and it looked like she was about to cry when she was walking up the ramp after attacking her.
Hey man, so Natty just couldn't settle her tea kettle.
The only reason I'm happy that Natty turned heel is that means it is officially the end of having to see Charlotte versus Natalya, because I think I've seen enough of that match to last me a lifetime at this point. And it's time for Charlotte to go defend her damn title against Sasha Banks.
That was like 6 months of Natalya versus Becky.
Maybe Natalya joins Charlotte and Dana Brooke, and they're like the new Blonde Ambition or something like that. You know,
they're all just jealous of Becky with the good hair.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That match was just there. Dean was interviewed for about Money in the Bank. He says he's not really a strategy type of guy. He said that Money in the Bank is the jungle, and he said the rules there are to survive. He has no fear, no hesitation, and the briefcase is going to be his. Well, he must be Nostradamus. And then he was asked if he had any comment on the title match, and he goes, well, Roman's going to have fun beating up Rollins. Beating up Seth is fun. Trust me, I know. Sheamus and Apollo Crews, another match that was originally on the pre-show, bumped into the main card. I had a little higher hopes for this match. The ending was kind of
flat.
Yeah, flat.
Kind of fugazi.
Fugazi. That's how Enzo would probably put it.
The problem was it was a finish that perfectly had a big, bright flashing on the screen of "This feud continues. This feud continues," and I'm like, no. It
almost feels like a finish. It almost feels like they should have had their first match on Raw, and this would have been the finish there that led to the pay-per-view match.
Absolutely agree.
But they didn't do it that way, and it sucks because like Apollo, for the first time in his life, showed some fire on Raw, and then like now it's just like. But then he comes to the pay-per-view being the smiley, happy person again, and it's like, God damn it.
He's like the Sarah Lee. He's like Sarah Lee. You can't stop smiling.
You know who he reminds me of? Obviously not of like overall package, but if you watched
Ahmed Johnson?
No, if you watched the first season of NXT, when Daniel Bryan was there, and when when Daniel Bryan could not stop smiling.
Oh, Daniel Bryan.
Yes,
when he
everything he did, he could not stop smiling. I see a lot of that in Apollo Crews right now. Like Apollo Crews has yet to be able to find his character, and much like Daniel Bryan was at that point. Like I really feel that they brought up Crews way too early. Like I do not think his time was up in NXT yet.
Well, they brought him up and they didn't have a plan for him. That's the problem. Like they're just like, hey, we're gonna bring you up. You're gonna be like the Neville role, where you're not really doing anything, but you're gonna look cool. People are gonna like you for a few weeks while you're doing all your cool shit, and you look awesome. But then people are gonna realize, hey, you don't really have any substance. So what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, we buried that point into the ground so many times. They didn't even have a plan for him in NXT. He never really had a feud, you know. And all of a sudden he's getting called up. So now he's got to kind of learn on the fly. But he's that big beefy guy that Vince likes. So
yeah, I mean he's got a ton of potential. He's a great great athlete. I mean, I think he could go far. It's just, it comes down to whether he can flesh out a character in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it was a decent start to the match. The ending was just completely flat when a very, very cool move of Sheamus hitting White Noise off the ropes, but it had a very lackadaisical pin. So Cruz kicks out of it. Sheamus argues with the referee. Cruz rolls him up, and 1, 2, 3 for Apollo Crews. And Sheamus, he doesn't look as stupid any longer. He got rid of the beard braids, so now he looks like Eric Rowan's cousin.
Honestly, with as big as his beard is, he probably looked better with the braids at this rate. Because that beard is just like his beard is out of control right now.
That thing is full.
Yeah.
I think the match really just proved that White Noise can never keep a black man down.
Oh my God.
Oh no, you did it.
And with that, I think we should move on to the next match.
And with that, I'm gonna step away from Money in the Bank, and we're gonna go into my Ultimate Power rankings, which cover most of the major North American promotions. TNA.
Trevor, I swear to God, I don't know his list just like last month, and I swear to God, if Shinsuke Nakamura isn't on this list, I'm quitting the podcast. If he's not in the top 10, I'm quitting.
I should delete Shinsuke from the list right now so Matt quits.
You're a dick, you know that?
Trevor, you want the job?
How many Black Diamond wrestlers do you have on this list?
The 4.
Okay, all right. I approve. Sorry, Matt. I have to marketing,
This is unreal.
TNA, Ring of Honor, NXT, and WWE are all represented in my top 10 of power rankings.
Oh, did TNA actually make it to air this week?
I don't know. I think it's still looping commercials for dog food.
Will you stop?
Hopefully they get their shit together when Big Brother After Dark airs, right, Trevor?
Man, TNA,
there's a cheap plug
all the shit, it sucks for them because that wasn't even their fault.
No, it wasn't.
So it's they just get fucked. Like when they're not fucking something up, they just get fucked.
And there's a nice little a cheap plug for Trevor and I's podcast, The Return, the second season of A Twist of Big Brother, coming soon to your ears. So stay tuned for that, right, Trevor?
Yeah, we're doing it.
Wednesday's the big episode 1 for the TV. We'll figure out when we're going to record. So keep an eye out for that. Number 10, the only TNA man in here is going to be the TNA champion on almost all of these rankings, and I'm going to kick it off at number 10 with Bobby Lashley, just because he's holding a world title, and so that's about we'll just put him in there.
Bobby Lashley.
No, I said Bobby. I said Bobby, not Robbie.
I was just making sure.
His brother Robbie.
You better not say his name wrong. He'll beat your ass.
Number 9, another Bobby, which I think might be the next number 1 contender for Samoa Joe's NXT title, Bobby Roode, with Nakamura and Styles possibly.
Wait a second. I'm throwing a motherfucking flag here.
What are you throwing a flag for?
I'm throwing a fucking flag. You're seriously going to have a dude that has done nothing but appear in a hallway with a cup of coffee, be number 9 in the top 10 power rankings for the last month?
He had a graphic on NXT this week.
This is brutal, pal. I love Bobby Roode. He's one of my favorites. I'm super excited that he's a part of NXT, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be doing. But to have him at number 9 on these power rankings when he hasn't done anything but drink a cup of coffee this month on television, I think is rather ridiculous.
Name me another number 1 contender right now.
I don't think he is the number 1 contender.
Who's going to be if Nakamura...
I don't think Nakamura and Balor are fighting in Brooklyn.
You know who's the number 1 contender right now, JB? Brother Nero!
I honestly think Nakamura is the number 1 contender right now. And I don't think that they're going to hold that match off until Brooklyn. I think that's going to happen prior to that. People keep forgetting that Brooklyn's like 2 months away. I just don't see them holding that match off that long.
Like that. Like NXT does that.
I don't know. Even if they do that, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's not going to be Bobby Roode and Joe in Brooklyn. If Nakamura is tied up with Balor in Brooklyn, I'll tell you who Joe's fighting, and they're going to bring the story. They're going to bring the storyline around full circle. Joe's going to be fighting Hideo Itami.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to come back and reveal that Joe, the night that Hideo got hurt was the night that Joe debuted. And Hideo is going to come back and reveal that Joe was the one that took him out. And they will do Joe and Hitami in Brooklyn.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, the only reason I put Roode in here right now is he's the only one I can think of right now that is, if they're going to keep Balor and Nakamura at Brooklyn, he's the only one I can think of right now that they're going to put in there. So that's why I got him at number 9. Number 8, the United States champion. He gets a win over the Father of the Year on Father's Day, Rusev. And now, this is weird. I don't know if Bleacher Report fucked up or not, but they said that Rusev won the match with the Rusev Crush and not the Accolade.
I wish they'd call it the Rusev Crush.
I was like, did they change that? And I didn't know that.
Yeah, they definitely didn't change it.
I have not heard that, but I officially want it to be called the Rusev Crush.
I mean, they called it the Accolade on commentary tonight.
That is the only way I'm referring to that move from now on. It is the Rusev Crush.
I want to make a mock-up pop can that just says Rusev Crush instead of Orange Crush.
That'd be a good T-shirt. Put that on a T-shirt, underdog.
What? Speaking of
number 7.
Speaking of T-shirt, mad props to Kevin Love for walking around in an Austin 316 shirt tonight at all the press conferences.
What?
I think that's amazing, and I'm sure Stone Cold is very happy that he's probably selling some shirts on WWE Shop tonight.
What?
I said I'm selling shirts, you son bitch.
One beer. All right, Matt's not quitting the show. Number 7, the undefeated Shinsuke Nakamura.
There we go. He should be higher.
Well,
he's finally on the damn list.
I don't think I'm looking at my list. I don't think.
Hey, Matt, nobody gets higher than RVD.
What? Hey,
do you think
somebody say my name?
Do you think he's going to be one of the guys they bring back on the brand with the brand split?
No, because I don't think RVD gives a shit anymore.
Did you see the rumored people that they're going after?
I'm hearing MVP, Carlito, Crime Time, Shelton Benjamin, Kurt Angle, Goldberg.
Hardy.
Rumored that they wanted Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio, but I don't see how that's possible with
that
situation. A lot of what was being reported to was what Mike Johnson was talking about on PW Insider Elite stuff.
But he hasn't
named. Wonder if
hasn't named. Mike Johnson hasn't named any names. This was a report from Forbes.
Oh, Forbes is the one.
Yeah,
that's right.
Forbes reported it.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking because Mike didn't actually say these people were coming, but he was just like posing like a what if these guys came, and I almost wonder if someone.
Oh, you think somebody took his audio out of context?
Right.
Yeah, that could be it too. I wouldn't put it past this world nowadays.
Would that hurt the product? Or would that hurt or help the product that you're bringing back all these old timers on a brand split?
I think if you could solidify the mid card, I think it's excellent. I don't really think they need to bring in main event people, but if you want to fill out the mid card, for some great mid card feuds with like MVP, Crime Time, Carlito, Shelton Benjamin, you bring those guys back and split them between the two brands, and they're working mid card like U.S. Intercontinental title level storylines. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think that's awesome. So,
Prime Time was on that list too?
Yep.
Oh, wow, nice. They're still both active, so...
they still run the indies together, so...
That very much surprises me after...
Go ahead, Trevor.
I was going to say that very much surprises me after JTG's books, but...
Yeah.
Well, JTG's gone on record as saying he has no interest in working for any major promotion other than WWE. So...
yeah. Said that on Jim Ross's podcast.
Yeah.
Number 6 on the Ultimate Power Rankings, a guy that defeated John Cena tonight, AJ Styles. Of course, if you pin John Cena, that definitely helps you out a little bit. Wasn't clean, and of course, a lot of people on the internet bitched, but
the only reason I wasn't happy with it is because it wasn't Finn Balor doing the interference.
Yeah, we'll dig into that match here right after the 5 count. Number 5, I got your NXT champion Samoa Joe, fresh off of defending his title against Finn Balor inside the cage. What a good match that was, by the way. Number 4, your ROH World Heavyweight Champion Jay Lethal. In just a few short days, I believe 5 days from now, he will go into the Best of the World pay-per-view as champion against Jay Briscoe, a match that has been 1 year in the making. This Thursday, on Lost in the Midcard, we will break down the card and give you our predictions for the Best in the World pay-per-view. And number 3, 2-1 should not surprise you. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, The Shield. They are your top 3 on the power rankings. I don't know how they're going to shake this out. Don't you think it should be a Shield triple threat at SummerSlam and not?
Where they're going.
I would much rather have it at SummerSlam than Battleground, and even though
that
would keep me from going to Battleground. I agree, Trevor. I think SummerSlam is obviously the smart thing to do, but at the same token, are all 3 of those guys going to be on the same brand come SummerSlam? I mean, are we getting 2 titles? Is it just one title? I mean, like, what the hell is going on?
Both, don't you think they still both have a claim to that title, even though they may get drafted separately?
It's very interesting.
It's hard to say where they'll go, but maybe they'll just do Ambrose and Rollins at Battleground, and then do the triple threat at SummerSlam. So, I mean, I guess we'll find out.
It could be a hot potato until then. And Rollins could beat Ambrose, and then Reigns never got his rematch yet. So who knows?
I will present this topic of conversation, whether we talk about it tonight or later on this week. But I think at this point a discussion needs to be made on the Shield being one of the most successful factions in the history of professional wrestling.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's sad that their longevity, they weren't together as long as they should have been. But at the same time, there's 3 main event guys there, so they had to pull the trigger sometime to make these 3 guys stars, and they have done a good job of making all 3 guys stars.
The only faction I can think of previous to the Shield, off the top of my head, that all went on to become world title winners was Evolution.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they already had a Hall of Famer in there with them with Ric Flair.
Right.
Triple H was at the height of his career. 2000 is about when he started to take off as the top guy, with Rock and Austin kind of fading off as consistent players in the WWE. And, of course, you had your 2 young guys with Batista, and thankfully he got out of that shitty gimmick with Devon Dudley. and which many people forget. That's how he started in the WWE, was Deacon Batista.
Deacon freaking Batista.
And then, and of course, Randy Orton. All right, our 5 count that we do every pay-per-view. This week it is our favorite cash-ins, our 5 favorite cash-ins of all time. After, there's 17 of them now. We did not include Dean Ambrose, but we will fit that into the discussion after we do our 5 count. So this is basically us breaking down our 5 favorite cash-ins out of the 16 that have existed in WWE history. Matt, kick us off with your number 5.
My number 5 was honestly the first time I introduced a friend to pro wrestling. It was the first time she ever watched the show. And it was CM Punk's cash in on Edge to bring the World Heavyweight Championship to Raw and give them a main title when Edge was leaving for SmackDown. And I think I made a fan for life that night because she thought it was crazy and insane, and I was flipping out, and I explaining everything to her as it happened, and just the overall special cash in that I totally remember very fondly.
My number 5 is not substance related. It is just personal related. It is Alberto Del Rio cashing in at SummerSlam in 2011. It was the first ever pay-per-view I ever attended, and it was when I met my co-host, Matt Black.
And I walked out pissed off as a bitch.
We were in L.A. with
so
THQ
mad.
for the WWE 12 video game, So just the fact that I got to see a cash in on my first ever pay-per-view experience live, I thought that was cool. But yes, substance-wise, it was but with Diesel coming in and interfering, and yeah. But hey, I was there to see it, so that's why it's in my top 5. Matt, what do you got at number 4?
One of the most unique cash-ins, in my opinion, was Rob Van Dam's cash-in on John Cena, because he actually said, we're not going. I'm not going to just jump you out of nowhere. This is where we're doing it. One night stand, me and you for the WWE Championship, and RVD winning that title in an ECW atmosphere. To me, was one of the coolest cash-ins they could have done, and the one night stands thing are still extremely special to me. So
they are.
I loved it.
If I hadn't attended SummerSlam 2011, that probably would have been my number 5. RVD calling a shot in the home of Extreme. Probably the most famous WWE sign of all time. If Cena wins, we riot. Truly, those are some fun. Those are fun pay-per-views because they kept the original style of ECW, unlike the television show on Sci-Fi. My number 4 cash-in of all time is the birth of the Authority, Survivor Series 2013. I thought the moment, it sucked for Daniel Bryan, and as a Daniel Bryan fan, I was pissed, but the moment itself was just epic. Triple H turning heel, giving Daniel Bryan the pedigree. Randy Orton was a face. He comes out and cashes in the contract and gets his hand raised by Triple H. Solidifying him as now the number 1 guy in the Authority. I thought that moment was just an epic moment set for a cash in for a Money in the Bank, and so that's why I got that at my number 4. Matt, what do you got for 3?
Number 3 was the original cash in. Edge cashing in on John Cena after the Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. Me and my friend were watching that pay-per-view, and we were really bummed out at the end of the show. We were like, God, freaking Cena, Super Cena does it again. And, and for Edge to freaking, come out there with Vince and cashed in the contract and won it, left us super hyped, kind of like I felt hyped after the show tonight. So definitely a special cash in to me. Very much enjoyed that.
My number 3 is what some people regard as one of the loudest pops of all time, when Dolph Ziggler cashed in Money in the Bank, the Raw after WrestleMania 29 on, I'm drawing a blank right now. It was Alberto Del Rio, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was there for that. The crowd pop was insane.
It was loud as fuck, and it was a moment that was so well deserved for Dolph Ziggler, and hopefully he can get back to that level again, because he's not there now. But that moment was just crazy. I loved it. Matt, what do you got for number 2?
Number 2, my top 2 ones are ones I was live for. Ironically, not the Dolph Ziggler one. Number 2 is Seth's cash-in to make the WrestleMania main event a triple threat match between Roman and Brock. I cashed in on WrestleMania. Was freaking awesome, and there was a special magic leaving the arena that night. That was a night and day difference from the feeling of dread and boredom that I felt leaving the AT&T Stadium this year. What a difference a year makes. But Seth doing the cash in number 2 for me.
My number 2 is also Seth Rollins cashing in his Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. 9 years in the making to have the biggest stage of them all be the stage for a cash in, and it was in execution. It was great. Rollins sprinting down that long ramp, giving a curb stomp to Roman Reigns, which has been erased from eternity, unfortunately. Allegedly, Roman Reigns congratulating his buddy while he's getting pinned. We don't know, but it was a special moment. The picture of Seth holding up the championship and as the pyro's going off on that enormous WrestleMania stage was just an awesome picture to behold. And so that is where I got number 2 as well. Matt, so you said you attended number 1, so it's got to be Alberto Del Rio at SummerSlam, right?
Absolutely wrong. I've attended a lot of Money in the Bank cash-ins, but that is not my number 1. My number 1 cash-in was Daniel Bryan at TLC when he took the championship from the Big Show in Baltimore. One of the craziest crowds I've ever seen that night. There was just so much good on that show. Zack Ryder becoming United States champion, Daniel Bryan becoming the world champion, CM Punk retaining the WWE championship. It was just a really freaking awesome night. And yeah, I will remember that cash-in for forever. Daniel Bryan played his role perfectly that night, and it was just perfect.
Was he a heel or a face at that time?
He was a face going towards heel. He was a face at the time, and they slowly started his heel turn after that because they loved the storyline of where the championship got to the person's head and, made his ego blow up. It was really the start of the rise of Daniel Bryan that started the yes revolution that happened a few months later when Sheamus beat him in 18 seconds at WrestleMania. So
my number 1 cash-in is the first cash-in, Edge at New Year's Resolution in 2006. This was the period of time, 06, where I was sick of Cena, because Cena was my favorite when he was the rapper. Then I was sick of him, and now I'm not as sick of him anymore. Maybe I've grown up, I don't know, because I don't hate Roman Reigns either, so I'm not a smart mark. But this period of time, yes, I was with Matt, 2006. John Cena gets the win, and Edge and McMahon come out. We don't know what's going on. I mean, we knew what the Money in the Bank kind of was, but we didn't know.
Well, yeah, because McMahon came out first by himself.
Uh-huh.
And he told Cena, "Your night's not over." And then out came Edge and Lita, and everybody's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, so we did not know what was going on when Vince came out, and there we go. We saw the birth of the cash-in. So that still sticks as number 1, just because of the situation and us as fans not knowing what's going on and leaving with a nice surprise. So I still think that first one is the best one. Trevor, what are some of your favorite cash-ins of all time on Money in the Bank?
I would definitely say the Seth Rollins one at WrestleMania. I did like the Daniel Bryan one. I was actually pretty surprised that the Jack Swagger one on Jericho.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he won it.
Look how far he's fallen.
Yeah, I know. He's really good as a worker. He's just not the best talker.
Where would you put Dean Ambrose now, Matt?
That's hard, man.
It's hard for me because I'm an Ambrose fan.
It's hard to process it so quickly. I feel like it belongs somewhere in the top 5. But I really don't know where I'd place it right now. It's definitely top 5 worthy. I can definitely say that much.
I'd probably my gut would be 4, put it at 4 with Ziggler, Rollins, and Edge still ahead of it. But I mean, Ambrose is my favorite wrestler, so it's obviously a big one for me.
Well, I'll probably be wearing a Dean Ambrose shirt tomorrow. I can guarantee you that. I
don't know if I got mine clean or not, so I might have to dig it out of the dirty laundry. Back to Money in the Bank, a icon versus icon match, about 15 years in the making. John Cena, AJ Styles. The arena was insane.
This is where the pay-per-view turned around.
Yeah, and it wasn't Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks. It was Let's Go Cena, AJ Styles. And these guys fucking brought it. It seemed like a typical Cena match where Cena's in trouble for most of the match and then fights back and whatnot. But AJ looked like he totally belonged. He took the fight to John Cena. I thought he was going to do the triple crash and burn there. Or actually, no, that was Seth Rollins. I'm sorry. But Styles got out of the AA a couple of times. got the calf crusher in, hit the Styles Clash. Was able to kick out of the AA, which made me pop, thank God. But then we had the ref bump, and were you thinking Finn Balor there, Matt?
I was definitely thinking Finn Balor. I think when you already established the storyline that the club can't be at ringside, I think you presented the perfect opportunity to debut Finn, because he's not a member of the club at this point, and then you could have put him in the club the following night on Raw. So to just go with the club when the club was already quote unquote banned from ringside, just in my opinion, looks bad storyline wise. And I think it was a stupid decision. I'm really happy Styles won, but I was not the world's biggest fan of how the match result was.
They never said that the club was banned from ringside. The contract was whether the club was already at ringside or not.
It seemed like the commentary was implying that they had been banned.
Well, when we did our preview show, that's what I said. I never caught the announcer saying they were banned from ringside.
Well, that's certain. The way the commentary has spoken this week to me felt like they were saying that they were banned from ringside. Maybe I'm just reading too much into the commentary, which is my mistake for trying to understand WWE's commentary to begin with.
Yeah, don't.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you're trying to make sense of WWE's commentary. That's the first mistake. When we both thought completely different things. I mean, hello WWE, make it black and white for us here. And then Michael Cole calling a 450 splash a shooting star press. That was nice.
Vintage Michael Cole.
Vintage Cole. Ref bump. So we knew something was going to happen. But it was Gallows and Anderson. They nailed the Magic Killer on Cena, and Styles gets the cover, while Gallows and Anderson hit for the high road, so the ref does not see them. Great match. Again, this just puts a further emphasis on AJ Styles for our Wrestler of the Year once the marquees come along, because, again, he has not had a shitty match. We figured this was going to be good. I think it lived up to the hype. Trevor, did you think it lived up to the hype?
Dude, AJ countered everything. Like, everything John Cena does ever, AJ Styles countered. I mean, Cena made AJ look like $1 million in this match. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people hate the finish, but at the end of the day, AJ Styles is supposed to be a fucking heel. And that's exactly what happened. There was a heel finish.
At the end of the day, it's when you look back in the record books, it'll be AJ Styles defeated John Cena.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
And honest to God, that's all that really matters. I mean, we can nitpick the finish all we want, but at the end of the day, the result is AJ Styles defeated John Cena by pinfall. I mean, well, can you really ask for anything more than that?
It was so weird how a heel announcer in JBL was like bitching at the fact that the club cost Cena the match. I'm
sure that was a Vince in his ear kind of deal there. Like,
was that a TNA versus WWE type of thing or what?
I just think it was just
stupid,
weird. It
was. It was a classic though, and it sounds like this will probably be a feud that carries all the way into SummerSlam.
Okay.
Do you think it's going to be a 6-man at SummerSlam, or do you think if the club does not have the tag titles, do you think this will be a 6-man at SummerSlam and Cena have a couple people with him?
I don't know who Cena would. I don't know what tag team Cena would have with him. Because you would think it would be a tag team in Cena against, I don't even know how they do that. To be
unless
I'm going to tell you, right now.
Unless the club beats down like Randy Orton or something when he debuts, maybe if the club beats him down, you could have that as another ally, and maybe somebody else gets beat down, and that's how Cena's team is formed. I don't know. Trevor? What do you think?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so Cena now on his tights has the American flag, which is red, white, and blue. The flag of Puerto Rico is red, white, and blue. So,
come to Puerto Rico.
John Cena is going to make his way to beautiful Puerto Rico. He's going to smell the flowers and pick up some Epico and Primo backup.
That was...
Man, I rather would have had you going with American Alpha.
I thought that's where he was going.
No, that could definitely... I mean, in all seriousness.
I thought... I really want what Trevor's smoking, though. I mean... I mean, that's got to be some good hibiscus right there.
That right
just
there,
likes being wrong.
That right there was like Vince Russo logic. All right.
You see,
In all honesty, American Alpha would make sense if that's the way they want to go, but I don't see it being a 6-man. But I
don't either.
I see whoever is feuding with Gallows and Anderson being like the counteract. Like they'll do the 6-mans on Raw or SmackDown, depending on where they go in the draft. But depending on what team is feuding with the club, I think that's how it'll go.
Yeah, and something else we forgot about when we were talking about all these tag teams, I don't know if we mentioned the Shining Stars or not, but also how about we didn't even think about the Usos. They're still around too. They were on the show. So
yeah, they're around. They're just not being used at the moment. But I mean, that's the testament to how many tag teams they have right now too. But I mean, at the same token, I kind of really hope that AJ Styles and John Cena are separated in the draft, because if history dictates anything, at the end of the day, Cena wins. LOL. So if they could separate Cena and Styles in the draft, I think that would be most beneficial to both of those guys going forward, and they could return to that feud at a later date.
At WrestleMania,
what they'll probably do is, you're probably right, they probably will separate them in the draft, but since the pay-per-view is right after the draft, basically I think that pay-per-view will be like, this is the last time you'll see this match because they're going to be split up in the draft.
Until the next time.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime, right? Until the next year.
Ugh.
So maybe Matt's in a better mood now, so maybe we might do a little draft here. We might do a combined draft as we fill out the card, work together and fill out the card for Raw and SmackDown, which you could probably guarantee that John Cena and AJ Styles are on separate shows.
They are on our brands.
Yeah, they are. Money in the Bank ladder match, guys. This was fun. Did you guys enjoy Trevor, did you enjoy the ladder match?
Yeah, it was really cool. They did a lot of unique stuff, especially at the end, because you usually just get that one spot of like, oh man, this guy's going to win. Nah, someone takes him out. This guy's got it. Nah, someone takes him out. Instead, they had like pretty much like everybody like on pace with each other. So it felt like a very even match, and you really didn't know who was going to win, even though we kind of knew who was going to win. But
yeah, fully agree. Nobody really had a hand on the briefcase, hands on the briefcase, but then the ladder gets tipped over. Nobody really they had some fingertips on it, but never really had a good grip at it to where you thought they were going to pull it down, and then you get a false finish. Matt, what were your thoughts on the ladder match?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've been saying all week I thought it was either Dean or Owens. Yeah. Depending on if they wanted a face or a heel to carry the briefcase. I figured those two were the front runners. But now there's no briefcase at all. I mean, it's already gone. That's an interesting dynamic that we're not going to have around the WWE this year. I know a lot of people love the briefcase and a lot of people hate it. So it'll be a nice change of pace to not have that thing looming around for a year. It's going to feel a lot more fresh. Yeah. Next year when Money in the Bank returns.
Two cases.
Maybe 2 cases next year, but I think it'll feel a lot more fresh next year, due to the fact that we're going for now, at this point, it's going to be almost like a year and a half without the case being around. So that'll be very interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, I thought maybe I should have thought better about Owens being the champion or being the winner of the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, I thought if they were going to have somebody carrying it around, it was going to be Owens.
Yeah, because they've had a heel the last 2 times, I guess, with Sheamus and Seth Rollins. So, maybe it's time to switch gears for a face. Of course, you had the main event but we thought, that's just too obvious to have Dean Ambrose win it. Well, of course, WWE, they're taking the easy way out. So. But it was still a good moment.
And here's the thing: you got to think about it this way too: is this Sunday they had a lot of competition. They had the NBA Finals, and they had Game of Thrones, which is almost done with its season. So you have all those people that are going to watch that instead of WWE, which is, and I forgot to point this out, the AJ and John Cena match was right in the middle of Game of Thrones, which is pretty smart on their part to do that, because then that is the only match that people would probably stop watching Game of Thrones and watch WWE for if they did. But also, I mean, it's just they were super smart about the placing of all the matches to go against the NBA Finals here.
Some great spots in the match. Del Rio during the double stomp on Cesaro with a ladder underneath. I thought that was brutal. I think my favorite move of the match was Sami Zayn nailing Owens with a Michinoku driver on the edge of the ladder.
That was fucking crazy.
Oh, that was brutal.
I tweeted out my best caps lock JR impression. As God is my witness, KO is broken in half. And I really felt that for the way the impact went and how KO was laying there. It looked absolutely brutal.
When Owens was standing on the horizontal ladder and got his legs knocked out from under him and got racked, I go, well, Owens not going to have any new kids anytime soon.
Two's enough.
But the bullfrog splash onto Dean Ambrose, oh, that had to hurt. But Ambrose likes pain, so I'm sure he enjoyed that just as much as Owens enjoyed it. But Zayn climbs up to the top of the ladder, and Owens pulls him down and power bombs him on top of the ladder, screams and yells at Zayn, and climbs up to the top, battles with Ambrose, and Ambrose grabs Owens' arm and makes Owens headbutt himself on the ladder. I thought that spot was kind of funny. He goes crashing down. Nobody else is around. Your winner of the Money in the Bank briefcase is Dean Ambrose. So that was a fun ladder match. Great job by all the guys involved. And speaking of timing with the John Cena match in Game of Thrones, well, they throw Rusev and Titus O'Neil in the final minute of the NBA Finals game.
Oh, yeah, they sent that match out there to die.
Which was the very close match.
And I also think that was a major troll on Rusev, who is known to be a very big NBA basketball fan and has tweeted quite a bit about the NBA Finals over the past week. So I almost feel like that was kind of a troll on Rusev that he wasn't able to be backstage to see the ending of the NBA Finals.
Titus's kids at ringside. Titus gives one of them a kiss, and then Rusev comes out, and I loved it when he had Titus in a headlock and was yelling at Titus's kids. I thought that was kind of funny. But Titus he gets a little bit of a run, but in the end, Rusev cuts him off, puts on the accolade, and makes after a little bit of a struggle, but Titus then finally taps out. And then Rusev grabs the microphone to yell at Titus's kids. That was some good fun stuff. But yeah,
Rusev's awesome.
Rusev's way more interesting as the champ. In all honesty, I mean, I didn't think Titus had a shot. Once I realized it was Father's Day and they talked about his kids and shit for a second there, I was like, oh man, they're gonna change the belt.
That's what I thought too.
They gave Curtis Axel the Intercontinental title on Father's Day a couple years back. And speaking of which, I just want to make this known right now. I fucking hate the fact that Miz is off filming a movie with the Intercontinental Championship right now.
Well, we've said that many times.
I know. It's clearly evident on a pay-per-view night where the title's absent. It really annoys me that championship isn't presented on TV right now.
I will say this: everybody that was a challenger for his title was in the Money in the Bank match. So I mean, if there was a pay-per-view he could miss, it was this one.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So.
And speaking of timing, they very lengthy, but it was a good video package for Reigns and Rollins. And again, they're making Rollins look more like a face again. And they did a little bit of stalling, and they waited for LeBron to get his MVP trophy before they ring the bell. What timing! I have both TVs going on at the same time, so I could see that going.
That's awesome that you actually had you have the timestamp down on that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have two TVs going because a lot of times I'll clear off the DVR while I'm gaming or something, and so I had NBA Finals going on the TV up on top, and then my main TV I had WWE Network. So yeah, it was kind of funny timing. LeBron got his MVP trophy, and as soon as they got done showing him, as they finally ring the bell, it was pretty funny. They did not even start this match until 10:54 Eastern, which was very interesting. They went way late, but hey. that's not a bad thing either. When you don't have to mess with pay-per-view and you can run over, which is good. They didn't rush this match, I don't think.
No, I didn't feel the match was rushed at all. And I thought the match was excellent, by the way.
It was. Seth Rollins looked great on his return. If you had any concerns about his knee, well, I mean, the man picked up a very not light Roman Reigns for a buckle bomb. He did 2 crash and burn. I thought he was going to do the Jay Lethal triple crash and burn there for a minute, but he only did 2. I didn't think Rollins looked rusty at all here, Trevor. What did you see from Rollins in this match?
I thought Rollins looked great. He went out there and it was like he was never hurt.
I thought the energy of the match was great. I loved the spot when Roman was going for the spear.
Oh yeah,
and landed into a pedigree. That was so sick. And then another spot that Reigns used last month, I think against AJ Styles, Razor's Edge into a powerbomb. I love that move. That move is pretty badass. Some jackasses in Vegas were chanting "You can't wrestle" to Roman. I think they shut up after they saw some of that.
I really think at this point, I won't count WrestleMania because I didn't really enjoy his match with Triple H, but he's had 3 killer main events in a row on pay-per-view that have absolutely delivered, whether you like the result or not. So I really think at this point, people really need to get off Roman's back. And
I agree.
I don't mind if you boo the man. If you want to boo the man, that's your right. But to come out and say that the dude can't wrestle, I'm like, come the fuck on. Like, shut the fuck up already.
I think his match with Triple H as a match was really good. I think it was just marred by the fact that it was on late on.
It was a long fucking show.
Yeah,
maybe I was just so annoyed with the entire pay-per-view at that rate that I didn't care. I'll have to actually go back and sit down and watch that match as a standalone thing because I was so burnt out on that pay-per-view by the time that main event started. I just wanted to go back to the hotel.
I felt that way just watching it.
It was so weird, though. And maybe it was because it was my first WrestleMania, but I wasn't burnt out at all. I was fine with it. But I went and rewatched the match too, and I thought the match was good. I thought it was very solid. It wasn't epic, It wasn't one we're going to call for the ages, but it was a very solid WrestleMania main event.
Right. It wasn't. It wasn't as good as the AJ matches, but it was still a good match.
Yeah, it was a great match. It was a lengthy match too. I think it went 27 minutes, but it was a long show too. But back to Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns again. These guys performed very well. Roman went for the spear again. We said caught for the pedigree. That was awesome near fall there. He nails another pedigree to get the 1, 2, 3, and we're like, whoa. Seth Rollins beat Roman Reigns clean for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
The funny thing is, the first thing out of my mouth, I looked at the people that were there because we always have company over for the pay-per-view events. Because I love hearing different people's thoughts as the show goes on. The first thing I said in my mouth is, "Damn, anybody who bet money on Seth Rollins is really happy right now." Because I remembered reading the betting odds over the weekend and the fact that there was a huge payout on Rollins to not win that match. So when he did, I was shocked. I'm like, holy shit. Did not see that coming. Now I was like, that was pretty sick, and the sickest was yet to come.
If only if I only would have laid down bets based on my prediction there for Seth Rollins.
Well, JB, I have a solution. I hear the New Day has a time machine.
Sweet.
Yes.
Xavier Woods' DMs are open on Twitter.
It's not a refrigerator box, by the way.
Oh, man.
As Rollins is celebrating, Dean Ambrose's music hits. I personally thought Ambrose was just going to troll Rollins. Did you guys think so, too? Or did you think it was going to be a cash-in?
No, I knew he was cashing in.
Dean's crazy. So Dean's crazy enough to cash in.
I thought he was going to troll him. But
I knew he was cashing in because he said he was going to do it. Like
he comes in from behind as Rollins is dumb enough to look up the ramp. Why don't you just kind of run, do like a 360 because even if he's running down the ramp, you're gonna eventually see him. But no, he was being a dumb face. And didn't Seth Rollins look like a face and Roman Reigns like a heel in this match too? By the way,
yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Completely.
But yeah, Ambrose comes in from behind, nails him with the briefcase, gives it to Mike Chioda, says, "I'm cashing this bitch in. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. 1, 2, 3. Your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, my number one guy, Dean Ambrose." End the show. I fucking love it. I screamed. I hope nobody walked by my apartment because I screamed like a little schoolgirl, and I'm the only one in here. So, but I screamed at a schoolgirl because my guy is finally at the top of the mountain, and I am fucking excited, and I cannot wait for the open of Monday Night Raw.
Hopefully, no one calls the cops thinking there was a schoolgirl in there screaming.
By God!
Yeah, you might have some splaining to do.
But great moment. I think like Matt said, the ending of a show is telling, and we had a few dozen people. Thank you for voting on our poll at LITMC Podcast. How would you rate Money in the Bank tonight, which ended with Dean Ambrose as champ? 85% of the people voted A or B. 49 as an A, 36 as a B. 6% gave it a C, and then we have those 9% trolls giving it a D or F for Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I thought it was a solid show. The matches that we didn't care about. I thought Ziggler and Corbin and Cruz and Sheamus were good, solid matches. They're like, I think Sheamus and Cruz was more of a Raw type match.
Yeah.
Corbin and Ziggler was a pay-per-view quality match.
Yeah, I think they had a good match. I just don't think anybody cared.
Exactly. The women's tag nobody cared about. The WWE didn't even care about it. And now for some reason Natalya turned heel. The Fatal 4-Way was good. Styles and Cena was good. The ladder match was good. The main event was good, and then we got to cash in. So I definitely give high marks to Money in the Bank tonight, Trevor. What did you think of the pay-per-view as a whole?
I'd give it, overall, I'd give it a solid B. Just because I would say, like, the top match is delivered, hardcore, but everything else was all right. I mean, nothing was bad. So it's a solid B, I'd say.
And how would you give it there, Matt?
I'm somewhere in the, I'm probably giving like a B plus, A minus. I think the final 2 hours of the show, because let's face it, when the show went off the air, it was like 11:25. So if you're going, I'm saying you're going from like 9:30 to 11:30. Those final 2 hours of the show, even though I didn't see the United States title match, I really feel like the final 2 hours that they gave you really did deliver and really balanced out the kind of sputtering first hour and a half. And as I said, I think everybody really remembers what things finish on. And I think Money in the Bank finished on an extremely double high note with 2 world title changes in, under 2 minutes. And when stuff like that happens, I'm very pressed to give it a negative score at any point. I really enjoyed it all.
Interesting stats. One, the U.S. title match went 8.5 minutes. And the main event went 26. It did not feel like a 26-minute match.
No, it was really good.
And Styles and Cena went longer than the Money in the Bank ladder match. Styles and Cena went 24 minutes. The ladder match went 21 and a half.
Makes sense.
So, and Corbin and Ziggler went 12. So that was a nice lengthy match between those two.
I think all the matches really got time tonight. So
and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins went 9 seconds.
Well, it's a cash in. Come on, man.
I know. But yeah, so overall sentiment, positive, and that's what the WWE needs, because they were really sputtering going into the pay-per-view. They were really just mailing it in, and so a pretty happy ending, a pretty excited. I would say we're excited for Raw. Hopefully we get some brand split stuff, breaking news on Raw. But where do we go from here, guys? The United States champion, let's start with that. Who would make a good next challenger to Rusev? Trevor?
Man, I would say Corbin if he wasn't a heel.
Would you go Apollo Crews at this point?
No,
his feud's not done with Sheamus.
Sheamus.
I know who I'm going. I know who I'm going with.
Who'd you go with, Matt?
I'm putting in Sami Zayn.
Ooh,
yeah,
that'd be fun.
And they could even carry.
Underdog.
They could even carry over the Cesaro Sammy rivalry into Rusev territory, and they could do a triple threat for the United States title, where other people, Kevin Owens and stuff, continue to bother, Miz for the Intercontinental title. I mean, there's tons of ways they could do this.
Or what if they did this? What if Sami Zayn and Cesaro were kind of competing against each other to see who would win the Intercontinental or the U.S. title first?
Yeah, they could definitely do that.
Or Zayn is going after the U.S. and then Cesaro goes after the Intercontinental.
They had a interesting, friendly little conversation in the locker room too. Kind of makes you wonder. It'd be kind of a cool tag team to have those two guys in for a little while, sort of like what Cesaro and Tyson Kidd did.
There's too many tag teams right now, though.
There are.
Yeah.
There are. I'm just saying that would have been a cool idea. Yeah. Sami Zayn makes the most sense to me. For the Intercontinental title with the Miz, I would like to see Alberto Del Rio. I think if he's not seriously hurt. If he can get to that El Patron character and be a good face, unlike the bland face he was when they turned him face a while back, I think this would be a great way to elevate Del Rio. The crowd already gets behind him a good amount. He's already got the C chant, the Daniel Bryan yes chant. I think Del Rio would be a good one for the Miz next in the Intercontinental world. Matt, what would you like to see next for an Intercontinental title match?
I think they have a lot of character building to do with Del Rio before interjecting him with someone like the Miz. I don't think the crowd is nearly as much behind Del Rio as you think, and I think the heel versus heel dynamic there would make for some very bad crowd reactions. I actually really like the idea of Cesaro and Sammy both gunning for singles titles as like a competition idea to see who to get there first. There's always the idea of Kevin Owens lurking around, and I mean everybody. You want to talk about somebody who the crowd's behind, even though they're a heel. Kevin Owens has crowd support anywhere he goes. If they did KO versus Miz, I think they could actually semi-turn Kevin Owens face for that feud and put the title on KO. Make him Intercontinental Champion again, which I certainly wouldn't mind seeing.
That'd be a lot of fun if they put him, turn him face.
He's going to do a good job. I just thought of like an off the wall idea as a stopgap.
I love off the wall ideas.
What if Rollins and Reigns are so busy fighting with each other over who gets the next title shot that Kevin Owens ends up getting the next title shot somehow against Ambrose? Because they feuded before, so it seems like something they would do. Mm-hmm. And then that's basically kind of like a stopgap until SummerSlam.
Yeah, my next question was what do you do next with Kevin Owens when you're not really mentioning him in any of these title pictures. But yeah, that'd be very interesting to do. Do you throw Paige in a quick feud before we get Sasha Banks back for SummerSlam? So Paige has gotten 2 pinfalls on Charlotte. To me, it makes complete sense to have Paige in a mini feud.
If you're going to do a quick throwaway feud with Charlotte and Paige, Sasha needs a separate storyline leading into Battleground, so she's on TV and relevant leading into SummerSlam. Like we cannot leave Sasha off of the main TV for another month, and then all of a sudden put her in the title match with Charlotte at SummerSlam.
No,
so if you're gonna do Paige and Charlotte now, you have to do you do Sasha and Dana Brooke. Maybe Sasha comes out on Raw tomorrow night, and once a title match, and Charlotte's like, well, you haven't done anything yet, and they do Dana is like the brick wall between Sasha getting to Charlotte at SummerSlam, and maybe Sasha beats Dana at Battleground and then goes on to face Charlotte at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Yeah, I'm not saying keep Sasha off TV all the way to SummerSlam. No way, because she's already ready to compete now. So that would make complete sense. And then you'll probably get a bunch of tag teams between Paige and Charlotte, or Paige and Sasha against Charlotte and Dana. But yeah, this was a card that did not have 2 women's matches. So again, they're back to piston in the wind with the women. So let's have 2 separate feuds with the women, but it's going to be kind of the same because Dana Brooke and Charlotte. But are we all in agreement that the club is probably still going to be lurking next for the New Day?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you do with Enzo and Cass next? Who do you feud them with? The Shining Stars?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, Carlito on that list for the people that they contacted, if that's legit, and Carlito comes back and he's with them, they're a completely different dynamic right off the bat.
Agreed.
And I care 100 times more for those guys if Carlito's with them than if he's not.
I mean, I think if you did that, you could do them in New Day.
That's probably why they're in such
that would be awesome. You Carlito them against the New Day 3-on-3.
Yeah.
It's probably why the Shining Stars are in such a holding pattern right now, is they're still waiting to see if they do get an agreement with Carlito.
Well, I think they're in a holding pattern because of the draft. Because they have all these teams, and they're just like, well, we're not sure exactly what we're going to do with all these teams. So why are we going to keep having these guys work matches when we have no clue what we're doing with them?
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. It's going to be a very interesting Monday Night Raw, and we will talk about it here on Lost in the Midcard this Thursday. That's going to wrap up our post-show for Money in the Bank. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and thank you to SpiderDuck.net for being our host and enabling us to be on iTunes and any of your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure you search in Lost in the Midcard, hit the subscribe button, and you'll know every time we hit you with a show every Thursday, and then also every Monday morning after a WWE pay-per-view. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, and the links to both of those are on our Facebook page in the notes section, facebook.com/LostInTheMidcard. You can also find it on our pinned tweet on Twitter at LITMC Podcast. And before we wrap up things here, Trevor, any final thoughts?
Yeah, if you guys are in the West Virginia Panhandle area, you can come see Black Diamond Wrestling. We're going to be at a Community Days event in Fallensby, West Virginia on the 26th. And you can also come see us in our regular home in Benwood, West Virginia. It's near Wheeling. That'll be on July 3rd.
Matt, any final thoughts?
Well, for the last couple weeks, WWE's really been coasting towards the draft, which sucked. I feel like they certainly changed direction tonight for the better, and I very much hope that it continues. And I would just like to quote the great Rusev, who just sent out a tweet. I hope I taught at Titus O'Neil WWE's children a valuable lesson. Some fathers are just losers. Hashtag Happy Father's Day. Sincerely, your U.S. champ.
Oh, Rusev.
He is kind of the best. I swear to God, I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again. If you're not following Rusev on Twitter, you're truly missing out on some fantastic tweets.
That's for damn sure. For Trevor and Matt, this is Jeremy. Thank you for tuning in to Lost in the Midcard. We will be back at you on Thursday.